Welcome back to another episode of You're Built for This, where we pay homage to business owners, entrepreneurs early on in their journey. We take a deep look at where they've been, watch what they're doing, and see exactly where they're headed. Today, we have like a very, very special guest, Ashleigh, the creator of Compliments and Coffee, where she uniquely puts compliments on coffee mugs and encourages everyone, in the world, essentially. So it's a pleasure to have you here, Ashleigh.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on here, Aaron. This is exciting.
Cool. Well, first off, before we get into what coffees and compliments is, I would love to get an idea of who you are,
Yeah.
where you from, like where you were born and raised, like how did you grow up? I would love to.
Well, that's all very colorful, my background. So I'm originally from San Luis Obispo, California, which is like Central California, and I always like to share with people. Oprah calls it the happiest place on earth, just because everyone's kind of nice, But yeah, I grew up there. We were actually one of the first African American families in that area. So yeah, didn't grow up with a lot of representation. And so I didn't really see a lot of people that were successful, like a lot of people of color that were doing things that were successful, aside from my grandfather, who owned several businesses. So he was my inspiration. I kind of always knew at an early age I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't fully understand what that meant, but I always was thinking of business ideas and selling in elementary school and sewing things. So as I grew up, I think I kind of went down the beauty route. I was like an esthetician for a while, and slowly but surely made my way into tech. So I worked at a couple different startups, and now I work as a tech recruiter. And while I lived in San Francisco with the chaos of tech, I've been leaning into affirmations. They really just kind of helped me start my morning in a more positive way. So that's kind of how I navigated towards starting my business.
Cool. And then just backing up a little bit to when you were an esthetician.
Yeah.
What was it? Hair? Was it makeup? And like, was that like always a childhood dream of yours to do that? Or was it to be a business owner, but you can be an esthetician and a business owner? Like, what was your thought process? Did you know you would go the hair, makeup, or beauty route?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my father, he ran the photography lab at Cal Poly for he retired a couple of years ago, so like 36 years. And so I was always in his studio meeting with his students, and I fell in love with that and just naturally got into makeup. And when I was living in San Jose, I thought there was like a Paul Mitchell school on Folsom Street. It's still there. And that's where I went to school and learned about makeup and skin. So I've always had a passion for beauty. I think when I got into that industry after I graduated from that school and started doing like photo shoots and stuff, it was really, really cool and exciting. But then my dad got hit with cancer. So I ended up moving back to SLO, where there's not a lot of opportunity for like makeup artistry. So I kind of went into like EA type work. And then that's how I got into tech. But I always loved beauty. I thought, I did a lot of makeup for weddings. So that was kind of like my side business. And I would do in-home facials and waxing. So I really do enjoy that, but I just don't think that industry is for me long-term. It's more like a hobby now.
Yeah. And then why recruiting? Like we both share that background of like having a background in recruiting. I have my own reasons for wanting to start off in recruiting or, work in the recruiting industry. But what was your reason? For me, it was more so being able to speak with people. I felt like that was a skill of mine that I had as far as asking the right questions, connecting with people. Right. Helping people, get their next job or their first job. Like all that stuff was very exciting to me. But I'm curious to know, like, what was your reason?
I actually was an executive assistant for a couple of years, and I kind of just fell into the talent industry. So the company, I was working at a fintech company, and they were having a little bit of attrition. So they lost their recruiting coordinator, and I stepped in because I was like, I can learn technology fairly quickly. So if someone teaches me Greenhouse, I can figure it out. So I started doing that and fell in love with it. I just really liked that I was like the first point of contact for the company and the ambassador, and I kind of set the tone for the candidate's experience. I think that's something I'm really good at. And also I've always been like the nucleus of my friends. I have several different friend circles, and I'm the person that connects others. So you can have like a big friend circle. So I think I just naturally like to connect people with opportunity. And I love getting to know people and hearing their story and their why. And I have a very non-traditional tech background. I did not go to a 4-year university. So I think what I really like about being in tech is presenting people with opportunities that they maybe not would have had. Because obviously I'm all for diversity hiring. And so I think I'm able to understand people and like look at candidates in a different way and really allow them to shine during their interview so that they can, find their dream job. So that's why I like it a lot. And that's how I got into it.
Right. And you kind of alluded to it. I wanted to just ask you, like, how has recruiting like helped, I guess, in your normal non-recruiting life, like as far as with friends and whatever. But you mentioned it, like you're kind of like the nucleus with your friends, like recruiting new friends, connecting people is just like a part of your, day-to-day, just operation outside of your 9 to 5. So that's amazing to hear. And then coffee and compliments. Like first, before we dive into the actual name, I would love to get an idea where the name came from. So like, what was your kind of like thought process when coming up with this idea and then the name behind it?
Yeah, definitely. So I grew up, my mom, my grandma, my aunts always drank coffee. Since my grandfather owned a sewing store and a vacuum store, it was near a liquor store. So they'd always have me go and get them coffee all the time. So that it just became this like ritualistic thing for me growing up. And when I was in tech, it's just a lot of chaos when you work at startups, and that's typically where I work. So, and also just as a woman of color, I've had a lot of unique experiences in the workplace. And so you never really know what's going to get thrown at you that day. And so I really like to affirm myself in the morning and just kind of like equip myself with a sense of just confidence, I believe, just so that I can start my day and in a more positive way. It rhymes, but it works because it's true.
Yeah.
And so like, that's kind of how it happened. I thought like, wow, like I get up in the morning, I have coffee and I go through Instagram and I look at those quotes and I'm like, yes, they understand me. And I'm double tapping quotes. And then I was like, what if you just have a quote inside of a coffee mug? It's like 2 birds with 1 stone. The more that you focus on something, it expands. And when you say affirmations, the more that you say them, they get into the subconscious of your mind so you can start to believe them. So just the science behind it even, I just thought it made sense to marry the two. And so affirmations are a form of compliments. You compliment your friends and your loved ones so much. I think people should practice that self-love and create a space to edify themselves on a regular basis in a way that's like not super time consuming, like journaling, which I think is important, but not everyone can do that. They only may have time for a cup of coffee. Not everyone has time to meditate in the morning. Not everyone can listen to a podcast while they're working. So having an affirmation that they can see while they're working and drink, I thought would just be super helpful because it helped me. So that's why one of my taglines is like, sip your truth, because ultimately like those negative thoughts are lies. They're self-defeating thoughts. So I want people to really focus on like, if this is like, I'm drinking out of sip, breathe, repeat, I've got this, because I told you earlier, I'm really shy and I'm anxious.
You're fine.
So yeah, like it just kind of helps me center myself. And I just thought it would be a really great name and people could identify with it pretty well.
Yeah, and I really love the fact, because when I first saw your coffee mugs, I'm like, okay, she doesn't have the affirmations on the outside, right?
Yeah,
on the inside, which is definitely unique, and it makes sense because when I'm drinking coffee or whatever I'm drinking, I see it as I'm drinking, or if I glance down for whatever reason, it's just like a unique placement. So I love how strategic you were about that, because it's just something visible that you can't miss, essentially.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it too is like right now, if I didn't show you guys, no one would know that I'm having a mug with an affirmation that helps me calm down and my anxiety. So it's really cool because it's like your own little secret. I know a lot of coffee mugs do have like affirmations on the outside that people can see when they walk by, but I really wanted people to feel like this is for them. And so I thought it was a little bit more intimate if it's on the inside of the coffee mug. And so you're supposed to drink it and then say it over and over until your coffee is gone. I know that sometimes people aren't in a place to do that without looking a little crazy. But yeah, typically if you're at home by yourself and you have that space to do so, I always recommend like reading the affirmation after every sip.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. You're answering my questions before I even ask them.
Recruiter.
Yeah, I know you're on it. Like I was going to ask, like, how do you recommend people utilize the cups? But you hit the nail right with the hammer on it in regards to you can do it however you want, but
Yeah.
as far as just like leaving it there for the rest of the day, because I know like there's some coffee drinkers who may just take a sip and then it's just there for the, till noon, and then they come back to it. But then the point of it is to, read the affirmation as many times as you can.
Yes, absolutely. Like that's when the magic happens. And I have several different affirmations. I have about 8. I'm working on another one. But the whole thing is like you wake up every morning and you have different emotions. You're in different moods. So like I have a lot of repeat buyers, which is great because they're like, I like to match like the coffee mug with my mood in the morning. I like that I can get up and be like, oh, I'm in this mood. I want, my vibes are high for the weekend, or I'm allowed to do a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same damn time. That's my perfectly imperfect mug, and it's a bestseller. So people buy multiple, just depending on like, so that they'll have enough. I like to call them tools that help you just kind of take your power back in the morning and have more control over how you start your day.
Right. And I was gonna like play a little game with you in regards to just naming some of my favorite ones that I saw on your website, and just you telling me what that particular affirmation means, and then how that makes you feel, of course, but then how you want people to relate with it as well.
Okay.
You already hit on one of my favorite ones, which is the perfectly imperfect one. I'm allowed to be a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same damn time. What do you? Where did that come from? And what do you want people to take away from that?
Yeah, I think I want people to understand that, you're always going to be a work in progress. No one's going to be perfect. There's always going to be someone that's stronger, better, faster, smarter. And so like, I don't want people to necessarily feel like they have to have everything maybe on their list in order to be successful, in order to feel like they have self-worth. Like I want them to respect themselves and enjoy the process as they start to like want to hit those goals, but those goals don't define who you are. I think it's always great to have a list of goals to stretch yourself and be constantly learning and educating yourself. But at the same time, like don't beat yourself up because you're not exactly where you are at, like you're yet. So I just want people to understand that regardless of where they are on their life path, that they should still celebrate themselves for doing the best that they can as they reach those goals.
Amazing. And you hit it again. Like that's one of the reasons why I started this, was because I was, I guess not tired, but just it was getting old seeing like success stories everywhere. And success stories are great, but like, I feel like people need to see more people in the process of doing something like super early on versus like waiting till you're selling 1 million mugs a year. But like look at Ashleigh while she's 20, 30 a month or whatever the case may be, and see the process to that versus just waiting till you reach some success and now you're letting people know what to do, but people want to actually see it in process or early on as possible. So I think that was one of the inspirations to why I wanted to do this, and you hit it again with that particular mug for sure.
I love that. It's like, I think the best way to learn is to roll up your sleeves and dive in. Like I know Cal Poly's motto is like learning by doing, which I think is so important because no one ever is perfect right out the gate. Like everyone stumbles along the way. So I always like to tell people like fail fast, because the quicker you fail, the faster you are to reaching your goal. And for me, like I also started this because I had so many different business ideas that I did not execute because it was like I was really focused on the opinions of others. And I think I would hear, like my friends would tell me like not the most positive things. And so I was kind of scared to step outside of my comfort zone and try. And so it's unfortunate because some of my business ideas I've seen come to fruition and be very successful. And I'm like, are you serious? So with this, I sat on it for 1.5 years. I actually created these mugs, and then I would take them to work and I would like put them in the cafe and not say who they belonged to see if anyone would use them. And then they were always gone. They were always gone. So it allowed me to feel a little bit more confident to be like, oh, those are mine. And when I spoke up, people were like, you should do this. Like, you should really go for it. And so after working at a VC and working with founders and being a part of it, like listening into the accelerator, I was like, I'm going to go for this. Like, I think I've kind of learned a little bit while I've been working here. I think I'm going to just try, because at the end of the day, even if you don't get it right or it doesn't work out the way that you want it, you develop more confidence. And also it opens more doors because you get to meet new people. Like, how else would we have met? Maybe in the tech world, possibly, but life's about community. And so it's been so great to just meet several different people just because I decided to take a leap and try.
Right. Amazing. I love it. And you're using what you have. And I love the fact that you did a little bit of a product placement and then also seeing the proof of concept by placing it in the break room or wherever. Like, that's genius. That I don't think more people need to do that, honestly, with the things that they're selling. Just like drop it off at a store, drop it off at a barbershop, or whatever you're doing, just to kind of see like how people are reacting to it. So then you can have confidence and then, know what to do next. So that's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Love it. So the next one that I saw that I really, really enjoyed was the Too Blessed to Be Stressed mug. So today I will focus on what blesses me instead of what stresses me.
Yeah, that's a good one for me on a regular basis because, being a full cycle recruiter, like there is no recruiting coordinator. You are the recruiting coordinator. So when it's like final interview days, like you got to be equipped to just like react quickly and not focus on what stresses me, but what blesses me. And I feel like very blessed to have an opportunity to work at a company that I love.
Yeah.
And like, like I mentioned before, like what you focus on expands. So why not focus on the good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that one was also kind of inspired by the election because that's when that one came out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what that one's all about is, just focus on the good, because when you focus on the good gets better.
Amazing. Love it. And I have another one for you. So I love the title of this one. So validation is for parking. I don't need anyone's approval but my own.
That's my husband's favorite, for sure. Oh my God. He said that just really helped him with work because he's like, I think sometimes even culturally, it's just like for him, like always seeking approval. Like he's Vietnamese, and that's kind of a cultural thing to earn the respect of your parents, your elders. And so I know that he wanted to just understand, like, it's validation's cool when people like shout you out and like, that's all great, but like, that's not why you should be doing what you're doing. Like that's like the whipped cream, the sprinkles on top.
Right.
Ultimately, no one knows you better than you know yourself. And I think it's really important to be open to feedback, but also know the difference between feedback and people's unsolicited opinions. Because for me, I think at a young age, unfortunately, since there weren't a lot of people of color, I got picked on quite a bit. And so I carried a lot of those words with me growing up. And that's why I didn't really try new things. But when I moved away and I just kind of like had no idea about tech and just kind of started applying for work and figuring things out as I go, I was like, wait a minute. Okay, I actually am pretty smart. And then when I started just like working at a VC and just absorbing the knowledge, I was like, I just felt empowered to try. And now that I'm doing it, like I said, it's just like been giving me that confidence. So I think it's really important to be open to feedback. You need to be coachable. I think that's very, very important in life. But at the same time, like, have a little bit of discernment to understand like when people may just be projecting, because words have a lot of power and carry a lot of weight. And so sometimes it only takes one bad comment to, if you're not equipped and empowering yourself every day, right, with self-love, then it can have a negative effect for sure.
Yeah, and I have a suggestion for you.
Okay.
The name of a cup, and I was thinking about it all day today, and I don't want any credit for it. I don't want to pay for this. As long as you just say that this was your built for this, inspired, I will be happy with that. I'm going to put you on the spot, so I'm going to give you the name of the cup, and I want you to come up with the affirmation.
Oh gosh, okay, I'll try.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Okay. All right. So the name of the cup is "Don't Be a Mean Mug."
Don't be a mean mug. So like mean mug. Mean mugging and being like, got it. That's one of my slogans. So I don't want to say that. I was going to say like, the whole point of my business is to affirm yourself, but also when you feel good about yourself, you treat others with respect. So it's pour into yourself to fill up others. And I feel like that's kind of like part of the mean mug. But since that's my slogan, I guess I would say like, I would have to think about that, to be honest with you, because I never affirmations overnight. It does take me a little bit of time, and sometimes I ask my friends for feedback. So I might have to sit on that, but I do like that. Like, don't be a mean mug.
Don't be a mean mug. I like, yeah. So again, I can't wait 3 to 6 months from now. Look at the website and see, don't be a mean mug. Hashtag you're built for this. Love it.
Yeah, I like that.
And so, no, the reason why I thought about that was because I don't know if you follow like Tabitha Brown, the like vegan chef, Black woman, which she always says like, if you're not having a good day, don't go mess up anyone else's. And I always think that's like a great like thought, because like some days we do have like days where we're just not feeling it, and you know we kind of project that out to folks. So
that's so true. That's actually, it's funny because I text myself a lot when I have ideas. I know I have notes, but sometimes just texting myself a little bit quicker for me. And I wrote this down, which is really interesting. Just because someone mistreats me doesn't alleviate me from doing what's right. And that was just a thought that came to my head. And it's very much in line with, I think, Tabitha. I literally have my husband making me a steak tonight. So that's probably why I think about her.
Okay.
I really like that quote for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And the kind of fun question I have for you, all the questions that I had for you were fun.
Yeah.
But what's your favorite coffee, and like how do you like your coffee?
Yeah. So you know what's funny? I really thought I loved like a medium dark roast. And I love Red Bay Coffee over in Oakland. Kiba, who's the founder, just does a phenomenal job of like different roasts. So I'm a fan of all his coffee. I was thinking of rolling out a coffee of my own. And so I've been like testing out different flavors. And I fell in love with this one from Uganda. That's a medium light roast. And I learned that medium light roasts are actually stronger than dark roast. I thought it was just, the darker the roast, the stronger the coffee. But also it's actually the lighter the roast, the stronger the coffee. So yeah, there's this Ugandan roast that I'm in love with, even though I'm not going to roll out coffee. I decided to not do that because why compete when you can just collaborate and be the middleman, I realized.
Yeah.
But I really do enjoy like a medium light roast. I feel like they're just great for a busy day because they get you zipping and zinging, and there's not a bad crash at the end. So I would say my favorite.
And you touched on my other question in regards to product lines, like outside of the mugs. Like, I was going to ask about like making your own coffee, but are you thinking about like venturing off into any other lanes as far as like maybe, coffee holders or whatever the case may be? Like, has that thought come to you, or do you just want to stay in your lane and just do that one thing?
Well, I'm still playing around with it. I mean, when I first came out, I was kind of like pushing some t-shirts because I love fashion. I thought that would be fun. And I did an Instagram poll, and it was funny because I asked my community, like, do you like to stay at home in lounge clothes basically, or go out and get ready? And the majority of them said they like to stay home. And that was already the feedback I needed to just chill on the clothes because they don't really care about that. So I'm learning that what I like doesn't mean that's not what my community may want. That's been an interesting process for me. So yeah, I'm learning kind of more about them. I'm doing a lot of more discovery calls these days and spending time with them on the phone and just really getting their feedback so that when I do roll out products that they're going to be products that they're excited about. So I am working on something right now that I'm super, super, super pumped about. I have a lot of people in the medical industry that are customers. So I know that they'll be excited about this for sure.
Amazing. And I love how you were alluding to your community, like, versus customers versus like, people that just buy your product. You're referring to them as a community, which I really love, because at the end of the day, it is all about community, and the feedback that they give you allows you to grow that community. So like, how do you reach out to your community? Is it via email campaigns? Is it via Instagram? Just for entrepreneurs out there that are trying to establish their own community, like how do you keep in touch with yours?
Well, I use Instagram like LinkedIn basically. So I find people that are like within my niche, and I engage with them. Like I look at their content, I go in their stories, I compliment them and tell them that I love what they're doing. So I think that's a really great way. Like I know everyone may think that it's more time consuming, but I think it's more authentic because it's not like you're sliding in someone's DMs and being like, hey, blah, 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 blah. I really like the fact that I can go in and get to know them. And so for me, that's definitely something I like to do.
That's how we met.
Exactly. That's exactly how we met. So I love that. I also like people have emailed me, and I've got some really great people in email that are fantastic, but I treat my customers like they're my friends, because I feel like they are. Like, it's so cool to be in a space where something that you're passionate about, you can now find people that like love that too. Yeah. Like, my personal Instagram is like, cool. It's a bunch of people maybe from high school and elementary school that just want to kind of keep tabs on you and stuff like that, which is fine. But when you're creating something of your own that you're excited about, it's like you get to find a whole new world of people all over the country, all over the world, and vibe with them over that. And I think that's so dope. I've made so many new founder IG friends since the pandemic. So although it was pretty difficult, I'm really grateful to have met a lot of awesome people. So, like yourself.
Amazing. So as far as like taking it to the next level, like taking your business, getting your business into stores, I know, that's like, like you're focusing on what you have now, but is a goal to get into like a Target, to get into like, a Walmart? Like, we just shout them out just in case they see it and they want to partner up with you. But is that the goal, long term?
You know what? I have not even thought about that. For me, I'm thinking of a different way to pivot. I definitely am not opposed to being in stores. Shout out to Copper Cow Coffee. They were actually one of the first people to reach out to me and say, hey, we want to buy several of your mugs and sell them on our website with our coffee. And so that's definitely a way. That's something I can do. I also can do bespoke mugs so people can customize their affirmations. I work with a couple of startups who put their values in there, like a good morning message to their employees. So it's a good onboarding gift. I really would love to get into the real estate industry. Years ago, I worked in the real estate industry at a mortgage company, and referrals are so important. And so I was like, it would be so cool, like if someone sold someone a home and then gave them a coffee mug with their affirmation or whatever on the inside, and they can sign it like their name. That person's going to remember them forever. Coffee mugs don't go out of style. Everyone needs a mug. So it's just like they're always going to be in the forefront of their mind. So I'd love to kind of go in that route too. And ultimately, I'd love to work with motivational speakers. Like, a lot of people go to their Instagram pages because they like hold on to their words and they cling into their words. So like, wouldn't it be cool if you bought a mug from one of your favorite inspirational, motivational speakers, and they have a quote in there, and you get to sip from that every morning, and that's your affirmation, and maybe we can donate proceeds to a charity. So I'm trying to think outside the box here. That's draw back on the coffee idea. But I know that words are powerful, and so many people have powerful words that can inspire others. So if I could partner with those motivational and inspirational speakers, I think that'd be so cool.
Amazing. And I have one like last question for you. It's a two-part question that I ask everyone. Okay. So, as you're building Complimenting Coffee, like, what would you say is the one thing that has led to the success that you've attributed so far? It can be, a hard skill of yours. It can be a soft skill, whatever the case may be. Like, what do you think that was that led to the success that you've had at this point?
Just doing it even though I'm scared. Like, it's scary. Like, I launched without even knowing. I announced that I was going to launch a business without an idea of how I was going to do that. And that's something that my girlfriend Nina told me to do. I was like, I really want to launch this business, but I can't figure out the launch date. I'm like having trouble with the launch date. And I'm like, I feel like I keep moving it because I know that I can. And if I don't announce it, then I can always move it. So she's like, just announce it then. Announce that you're going to do it and you're going to figure it out. So I got on my Instagram and said, I'm going to be starting a coffee company in a month, or, a coffee mug company in a month. And then I knew I'd have to figure it out. And I scrambled for, like, I was on YouTube. I was asking people questions. I was pinging friends. I was like getting to work. So like I mentioned before, you're never going to have all the answers. Just do it afraid, because honestly, being courageous is starting when you're scared, and you build the confidence once you've done it over and over and over again. That's where the confidence starts to happen, because you realize, oh, okay, I can do this. So you're not going to just wake up confident one day and feel like you can do something. It's important to be courageous, like the "Don't doubt it, be about it" coffee mug.
Okay.
So I think my courage is more powerful than doubt is the message in that mug. And that's, I want people to understand that it's important to be courageous and just try, even if you don't know. And then that's where the confidence comes, when you can like fall down and realize it wasn't that bad. Like, let me pick myself up again and try again. So that's definitely what I would recommend for sure.
Amazing. And one of my first jobs, there was a director, his name is Kyle Sluzar. He used to always tell us to burn the boat in regards to, I forgot the actual story, but this they were going to fight a war, and they came off ships, and they were going to battle. And they told, the captain told the other soldiers to burn the boat, because like we're not leaving. Like there's no, like we're staying here, we're gonna win, and this is gonna be our land. So taking that risk, burning the boat, because you have no other option now. And that kind of resonated with me with what you just said around like saying that you're gonna have a launch date without any plan to start a business, but then you put your back against the wall to make you want to actually get to that goal. So that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't fully recommend that, because also when I did do that, I realized last minute that my vendor that I've been working with for the past year was not going to work. And I feel like it was like a God thing, because this girl I met on the internet was like, I found someone that could work with you. And that was actually a cheaper price point, and it just really worked out. But like, I didn't have, I had to find a new vendor in 2 weeks. And I looked high and low for someone that can print inside of coffee mugs. It's not really easy to find these days. Yeah. So I don't recommend just saying you're going to launch. I mean, definitely have a plan. I always like to tell people I don't know everything, but like I said, you pour into yourself so that you can be there for others. So if there's any way I can help, if you have questions, you know, you can go to Compliments and Coffee inside of my DMs. Like, I will make time for you, because ultimately, if no one made time for me, I wouldn't know as much as I know now. I do understand that I'm resourceful and have that grit. So that's something that I do contribute to that. But I've had a lot of people that have helped me along the way. And I understand how important having someone that can help you is. So
amazing.
You can slide in my DMs for sure.
Cool. And then the second part to the last question is, what is one thing that you want to improve on in order for you to take Compliments and Coffee to the next level?
Oh man, so many things. Start with consistency. I love social media for it's a powerful tool. On my personal page, it was a lot of fun because I just had to post when I wanted to, or if I liked my outfit. When you have a business page, you're required to post at least 3 to 4 days a week, and always post on your stories. I haven't posted on my stories for 2 days. I know it's partly because I work full time as well, and I have a lot going on right now. But and you just need to kind of build a better schedule with batching and holding myself accountable. I actually have a couple of girlfriends that want to get together at least once a week for 2 hours, where we just kind of have a co-working space where we play music. And if we need to ask questions with each other, we can. So find those people that will hold you accountable. That's super, super important, because I know for myself, that's something I definitely want to improve on. And also the next chapter is learning ads. I don't know, you probably have seen him, Abu. He does like ads on Instagram.
Well, no, but I'll definitely look him up now.
Once you look him up, you will always see him. So just be prepared. But he has this fantastic accelerator course for ads and retargeting businesses. So it's like a 6-week accelerator program that I purchased, and I'm excited to teach myself that. So like, ads, you make money in your sleep, because if Instagram's cool to show up, but you need to be able to show up in more places all day long in order to scale. So that's the next thing I'm going to be teaching myself how to do, or taking his program. So yeah.
Cool. Well, you're on it. I'm so excited to see like where you're going to be a year from now. You have a great brand first and foremost, and then the product is great as well. So I think you're going to go extremely far with this idea.
Oh, thanks, Aaron. That means a lot. I really appreciate your compliment.
Yeah. See, Compliments and Coffee.
The power of the compliment right there, like they're free and they make people feel good. Like, why not? Why not give them to yourself and to others?
Right. Well, I appreciate the time here, and if there's one thing that you want to leave everyone with, go ahead. If not, then we can end. But if you have one last thing that you would like to share to the listeners, you have the floor.
Yeah, definitely. I would just say go for it. And that's kind of something that we just touched on before. And I know that's just such a general blanket statement, but when you have an idea, start to research it. Google, YouTube. I mean, now they have, what's that thing that everyone has with the stages? What's it called? Where people network a lot, and you have Clubhouse.
Clubhouse.
I mean, Clubhouse. Like you can learn, you can like catch up on game real quick in Clubhouse. So be resourceful. You're not always going to have people that have the time to guide you along the way. And so a lot of the skills that you develop are just by you going for it and doing the work. You can always dream, but you know, without an action, dreams don't come into fruition. So just go for it.
Amazing. Well, like I like to end every single episode, I want to let you know, Ashleigh. I want to let anyone else know that's listening to this to trust the process, enjoy the process, love the process, because at the end of the day, you are built for this. So I appreciate the time here, and good luck with the rest of your journey.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I had a great time, and I really loved your questions. This is phenomenal. So I'm excited for you as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, peace.
Bye.